After days of talks, Greek politicians have struck a deal to let a $170 billion bailout package go ahead.
The agreement is now before a Eurozone finance ministers meeting in Brussels. For more, Dr Oliver Marc Hartwich, who's a research fellow at the Centre for Independent Studies, joins us from Sydney. Oliver, good morning again. What's likely to come out of this meeting in Brussels? Will this deal be rubber-stamped?
Well, I think there are still some details that they're talking about in Brussels, but I think the basic agreement stands now, and it will probably go before the German Parliament next week, because they probably also have to agree these measures, and they probably also have to agree some extra funding later down the track. So I think the basics of this deal are now pretty much in place.
It's fair to say some European leaders, though, are still pretty sceptical about these austerity measures ever being implemented in Greece.
Well, that's true, although, of course, Greece has already implemented some austerity measures. Some economists are estimating that the austerity measures today have been worth about 12% of Greek GDP, and yet they haven't worked. The real question is whether all of these measures taken together will actually get Greece back on track to growth, and I have my doubts about that, because I think it is pretty counterproductive. We have seen, for example, value-added tax revenue drop by 7% despite a rise in value-added tax rates, and that means that actually all of these austerity measures, all the tax increases, all the spending cuts actually had the opposite effect that was desired.
And already, as you'd know, we have the Greek unions again planning another round of strikes, which will further jeopardise any economic recovery in Greece.
Well, yes, sometimes I think that Greek unions should just announce when they're actually going to work again, because they seem to be on a permanent strike these days. And in a way, I can understand why they're going on strike so often, because they know that all of these measures are bringing enormous pain to the country, and yet they haven't really solved the problem. And even under the EU's plans, Greece would still be at 120% debt to GDP at the end of it, so that means they would still be bankrupt despite all the pain. So clearly, all these measures taken over the past 2 years haven't worked, and it's very unlikely that they're going to work in the future. What Greece really needs is a completely different approach.
Now, overnight, we've had the Italian Prime Minister Monti meeting President Barack Obama. What does this second bailout package, if it is implemented, mean for countries like Italy, Portugal, Spain and the rest of the Eurozone?
Well, the fear has always been throughout the euro crisis that Greece could spread, the Greek virus could spread to other countries. There was fear of contagion, and I think we have now probably gone beyond that. Now markets are finally seeing Greece once again as an isolated case, and they're not drawing the parallels as much as they used to about half a year ago to countries like Italy. I think markets are now realizing that when we're talking about Greece, we're really talking about a very particular case, and I think we are probably talking about quite a different category of problem in Italy. What's your view of the outlook for Italy? Well, Italian yields on Italian government debt have gone down. They were 7.3%, if you remember, in December. But then the European Central Bank stepped in with this first round of, well, basically money printing. Now yields are down to 5.5%. That's manageable for Italy, and at that level, I think Italy could probably go on. The problem is, of course, with all the yields going down, you're taking reform pressure off the Italian government. And so it is not that secure anymore that they're actually implementing all the reforms that Mario Monti initially promised.
Oliver Hartwich, loved the line on the Greek unions. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
It was a day of